from Sechi, and I want to show you what we got. Got some amazing stuff here. Now, what we're looking at is these are dated up until the 19th, and you see Ison that brightens there, comes across the center. We saw where it gets hit by a couple flares. It dims way down. It gets a tail strip back. Remember that? That was on the 18th. Now that we have a day's newer images up to the 19th, I want to show you some stuff. Now remember, Sechi takes 2 days to develop. Today's the 21st, so we have up to the 19th. Remember, as you watch Inky come in there, it was not under Mercury yet. What we're seeing here is the first pulse of the X flare on the 19th. Look at the timestamp. Remember, the CME is a separate event than that first pulse. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Coronal mass ejection is high density here, and this is the 19th. I went back on Space Weather and Archives. It says on the 19th, the X flare, it caused a wave of ionization in our upper atmosphere over Europe, Africa, and Asia. A brief blackout of high-frequency radio transmissions around the poles might have occurred. It also hurled an CME. The CME is what we're watching on the flare tracker that hit it today. These instant bursts do not show up of these X flares on the flare tracker. That pulse you saw there was it. Now this is Inky. And what happened? That pulse tried to strip its tail, but it did not take it head on the way Ison did because it's not going head on into the sun. Mercury's about as close as it's going to get, not much closer, and it's going to go on past and around the sun, not a sun dive or grazer or whatever you want to call it, like Ison is. Now, this is when it flared up, when it felt the pulse of the X flare on the 19th. Here you see that wave in the tail that didn't strip back Inky's tail. It tried. But again, it's not. What you saw is a sideways strip right there because it's going sideways of the sun. Now watch what happens to Ison. Look, watch your timestamp in the bottom left. 18th is when I showed you the video yesterday with it getting stripped back from the first M flare. Now, watch this. Notice the 19th. This is the pulse of the X flare, not the CME. This is that immediate X flare radiation burst. I don't know how Ison made it. Look at this. The entire giant outer coma in the black circle is stripped back, and the tail and any objects that were in the inner coma were peeled back. And I think and I'm going to show you some images, and I'm going to step this through also, but I think one of the new images are showing a much different Ison. In other words, that giant outer coma that was so bright we couldn't see inside it is stripped back. Now we're getting, I think, the first image of how large the nucleus is without the other objects. Will it hold together? Don't know. You see how it's stripped back right there from everything else? Check this out. Incredible X pulse. I've been saying for months this was going to happen. We're going to have X flares when it comes in. Look at that. Everything's stripped back but the nucleus. Now it's starting to glow again. We haven't seen these images since the CME struck it, so I don't know what that did. But this is the pulse. Tremendous impact. Look at that. I don't know how it made it. That's how tough this thing is. That's why we're going to be dealing with it. Top right in the blue is, remember, this is before the strike. Remember, it was getting like a bright light bulb. No one could see inside it. Here in the green, new images. Look how much smaller the glow is around that nucleus. In the top in the blue, it was a tiny dot inside of there. Remember, that was as wide as 20 Earths, that outer coma. This is before I took the brighter out, and the blue is before the strike also. Remember that? But if you see the size of this rock that's left, it has got to be bigger than 3.4 kilometers. With Lovejoy, they made a mistake by tenfold. Coming into the sun one side, 50 meters, coming out 500 meters. If they do a tenfold mistake on this, we give them that rate of error, you're looking at 34 kilometers. That's a big rock. That's 10 times the size of Manhattan Island. But anyway, I think we're starting to get, we're seeing right here the size of this thing. And a lot of people have said the entire time that it's bigger than what NASA has been saying. But again, you're looking at some stripped back images here. Guys, we're going to update it and we're going to watch it close. Be safe.